Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant. I'm live. I'm the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, America's first and largest nonprofit financial services network for the poor, the working class, the struggling class, the teetering class, folks with too much month at the end of their money, folks like you and me. And so I'm live from Escondido, Southern California. I'm also the author, if you're interested in how the poor can save capitalism, rebuilding the path to the middle class, the solution for the 100%, a bestseller in 5 countries. Hello, Arthur Wilson, and all of you who are coming on live. So I want to talk about freedom in the 21st century, how to set yourself free, and civil rights, and what we're doing here in Escondido today with One West Bank, our new Hope Inside location, and what we have in common with our Latino brothers and sisters. And something funny that an African American told me in LA a while ago. Okay, Harrison Logistics coming on board, Kevin, Leisha coming on from Compton, hey, my hometown. Hinton, Chevelle, Cozy is listening, Tiffany Greer, go Tiffany, Neil, David, I'm doing well, Neil, Delmar Bennett, Marvin Trice from St. Louis, Moy signing on, Ed Odom, thank you for allowing me to help, Joyce Hill, and others. Okay, so Frank Zantos, Angela Miller. Okay, let me get into this, and I'll respond to other comments a little later. You can see we're mobile. No, I'm not driving. John is driving, so I'm not being irresponsible. I'm in the passenger seat. Okay, so freedom in the 21st century is self-determination. But you can't self-determine yourself in a free enterprise world without understanding the language of money. And to quote Ambassador Andrew Young, my mentor and my friend, to live in a system of free enterprise and not to understand the rules of free enterprise must be the very definition of slavery. Boom, all right? So we're sitting in a moment in history today. But history never feels historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. So don't wait for marching bands and parades and something fancy to inspire you to take your life back. It's happening right now. And watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible that anybody else reads. So what are you doing to change your life? What are you doing to create history? What are you doing to recreate your own history? You know, history, without your contribution, it just becomes his story. Somebody else's story dictating your life. So I'm with One West Bank today, and One West, I want to commend them for buying an institution about 8 years ago called IndyMac, which was a horrible institution, with horrible leadership that did not care about underserved neighborhoods. One West bought that institution and has done a good job of revitalizing it and serving communities. So we're partnering with One West in our second Hope Inside location. The CEO, Ellen, came down to join us from New York. Thank you. And her entire team, brought the entire management team for One West Bank, CIT, to Escondido, San Diego County. I want to thank my family also who came, Kirsten and Monty, Mara Hoskin, and my nephew Adam and his wife, all the heroes and sheroes, my grand nieces and grand nephew, Valentina. So we were at Hope Inside this morning in Escondido, and I had to share this shared history that this was Mexico in 1840. That Escondido, San Diego County, was part of Mexico. There was a Mexican-American War, which nobody seems to remember, and this was a Spanish-speaking area, right? And in 1880 or thereabouts, Escondido became an official city, but Mexico created rancheros, or gave the land to some of their friends in 1845, creating the first rancheros in Escondido. Escondido, by the way, means hidden, like hidden valley, hidden treasure. And it's surrounded by ridge lines, so that's why I say it was hidden, all right? So I'm in South Central LA years ago, and in Los Angeles, and one of my African American friends, like, man, why are all these Mexicans around here? What are these Mexicans doing around here? I'm like, man, what do you think Los Angeles means? All right? They're just coming to get their stuff. We're all in this thing together. Do you know that Mexico second president in 1555 was mulatto of African descent. That there were slaves in Mexico before there were ever slaves in the United States, because the slave ships came around, and that's why slaves were dropped off in the Caribbean as well. They were put into Latin America, into Mexico, and that's why you've got, so the mestizo is the collection of the Aztec Indian and the Spaniard, right? And in some cases, a smattering of the African. And that's why they got the darker skin and the stringy hair. And by the way, the mestizo, the what we call Native American Indian came over the Bering Strait from Asia. Hello, we're all in this thing together. We're all the same. We're God's children. So I'm here in Escondido, opening up our Hope Inside, and these great success stories of our Hispanic sisters and brothers who are taking up this mission of civil rights, setting themselves free in Escondido, and we are staffed and ready to help all people, white, black, red, brown, and yellow, from Escondido and San Diego County. And if you come from San Diego or come down from Orange County, we'll still help you. Free. Hold on a minute. Raising credit scores in our office is 120 points in 24 months. Because nothing changes your life more than God or love than moving your credit score 120 points. Hello. Can I get an amen? Okay. And that's not a black amen or a white amen or a Latino amen or an Asian amen or an Indian amen. That's just an amen. The bank cannot fund your loan at a 500 credit score. They must turn you down. Hear me now. You walk into any bank with a 500 credit score, a 550 credit score, a 600 credit score even. I'm sorry to say this. They must turn you down by law. They won't tell you this, by the way, because if they tell you this, they'll be accused of racism and discrimination. They can be sued. If they tell you that they can't take your application, they can be sued for discrimination. So 20, 30 years ago, they were discriminating, many banks. They were redlining. So we got them, Bob Ganesta, others with the Green Line Institute, others got, protested and got the banks into the underserved neighborhoods. But now they're in the underserved neighborhoods, they're greenlining their way into the neighborhoods. Now we're not prepared to take application because a history of financial illiteracy, the Freedmen's Bank's mission, of not knowing we don't know, because never getting the memo on money. So we walk into the bank branch with a credit score, and the bank has to turn you down, and now you think, well, now the bank is racist, they're discriminating against me, they won't give me a loan. In reality, we don't know why we've been declined, and the bank by law can't tell you. That's why my counselors inside of that bank branch are critical, because my counselors can do what the banker can't do. So if you have a 500 credit score, you've got an error on your credit. I don't even need to ask you. I know it's true. You have an error on your credit, because if you didn't have an error on your credit, it wouldn't be a 500 credit score. If you have an error on your credit, that's worth 30 or 40 points. So we work with my team, who works with you for free, my financial coaches. And they will dispute this with the credit bureaus. And the law states, if the credit bureaus come back, the credit bureaus, by law, the law states they cannot confirm that it is true. They must remove it. If they cannot confirm that what we think is an error on your credit report, they cannot confirm that's true. They must, by law, remove it. That is your right. That's civil rights. They must remove it within 30 days. My team does that for you for free. So now your credit score has gone from 500 to 540 in this example. Now you find that you've got a charge-off. That charge-off is 10 years old, tied to a divorce that you had, let's say 10 years ago, all right? And it's $1,000 charge-off. It is accurate. It's yours. Claim it, right? You had a phone bill. You ran it up, 3 or 4 months. It got charged off from SBC Communications or Pacific Bell 10 years ago when you lived in the Bay Area. But SBC Communications in Pacific Bell doesn't exist anymore. They were bought by, in a roll-up, Pac Bell bought by SBC Communications, SBC Communications bought by AT&T. So when it shows up in your credit report as $1,000 charge-off, look for the fine print below. It says Joe's Finance Company, in this example, owns it. Joe's Finance Company bought what's called bad debt, okay? They charge it off, don't think you'll ever pay. But Joe's Finance Company is an entrepreneur. They think that they track you down and harass you enough with those harassing calls, they can get you to write a check. Let me give you a little insight. Joe's Finance Company bought that for 50 bucks. They bought your $1,000 bill for 50 bucks. What are they trying to get out of you? 100 bucks. So when my counselors, my Hope Financial coaches call on your behalf, with your permission, call Joe's finance company and say, we're calling on behalf of Mrs. Sanchez or Tyrone or whatever, and he wants to make this right. What do you want? They say, we want $100. We say we're going to give you, they want $100, which is 100% profit for them. We want to give you $200. Why would you give us more? Because if we give you more, you're going to take this off her credit, or his credit in this example, and write a letter to the credit bureaus. Boom, you're up another 30 points. Now we've increased your credit almost 80 points. All right? We increase a credit score 80 points in 6 months. And now you're in striking distance of getting back into the game. All right? And then we work with you. By the way, you're going to Starbucks and you're buying, you're going to Starbucks 3 times a week. If you're making $36,000 a year, why are you going to Starbucks 3 times a week? If you're doing that 3 times a week, and if you smoke, by the way, 2 packs of cigarettes a week, you're throwing away $6,000 a year. $6,000 a year is 20% of your pay. That's slavery. You just enslaved yourself. You want to set yourself free? 2 ways to make money: make more or spend less. Okay? So stop smoking, which will make you live longer. Anyway, right? We want you around. And stop smoking. In this example, going to Starbucks, go buy you some Folgers and drink it at home, right? And you just gave yourself a 20% increase in pay. And then my team will help you get the earned income tax credit, which is another $1,000, $2,000, up to $10,000. You don't have to pay that back. Now you got money for a down payment or to start a business, but it's certainly to set yourself free and remove your stress. All that's through our Hope Inside location. All that available at Hope Inside Escondido. Thank you, One West, and this is one example. See you. I'm going to lunch. Love you much. Peace out. Civil rights, unbought, unbossed, unbiased, coming to you straight and no chaser, with no agenda but to help you set yourself free. I'm out. Love you.